Welcome back to another Grimaldo Group episode where we love helping families with creating wealth through home ownership. And Juan, how are you today?
Great. How are you, Angel?
I'm doing great because despite it's a kind of rainy, cloudy day, I saw that people were out and about. Life is good here in the West Valley of Arizona, Phoenix. And it just makes me feel great that, life continues, whatever the circumstances may be out and about, whatever the news says. I see people smiling and doing their thing. And we continue moving forward. And
100%.
today's subject, having said all that, is about a vision board. I don't know if the public, our friends and family, and those that listen to us, have you ever listened or heard of the concept creating a vision board? And that's basically what we've done. We recreated our vision boards. What is a vision board to you, Juan?
Well, I feel like let's go back a little bit with it starts with goals, right? Like what is it that you want to achieve? And I feel like I don't know about you, but I'm very visual. And there's things. I have another vision board that I had before that I'm updating, and your goals change, right? So for me, a vision board is something that I want to see in my future. You mentioned quite often what you focus on expands, right, Angel?
Yep.
And I feel like if you don't have a focus, if you don't have a goal, even as biblical too, if people have no vision, what happens?
Oh, there's not going to be any action. There's not going to be a production, so to speak.
Yep.
You're not going to be producing. You're going to be stagnant, like stagnant water.
Yep. If you don't have any a direction, I mean, any way you can go anywhere, right? However, it's good to have something to go after. So we created a vision board, and my daughter was making fun of it because I put, a nice body under my face.
Yeah, you look.
She was laughing about it. So
am I.
Yeah, and I think that's why she put it in front so you can get a giggle out of it. But I feel like if you don't like, for example, I was telling Angel as he was laughing about my picture. You know what? If I look at this guy, would he eat the crap that I eat?
Probably not. Okay, can we see your vision board?
Of course, and it's not finished yet. So
it's not finished yet. I didn't bring mine, but this is This is what a vision board is, and this is what he's referring to. That's obviously not his body, but hey, he is envisioning himself to look like that. Now, with that should come the commitment to do what needs to be done to get like that.
Right.
So the objective of having a vision board is that you leave it somewhere. In this case, he's got it at his office space, so you can see it on a daily basis, and it reminds you of what your objectives are. And so eating healthy, maintaining, getting a great body, whatever it is that the vehicles that you would like to aspire to drive. Now, to some, a vision board may be, oh, you're so materialistic, Angel. Okay, well, maybe it's not a Porsche for you. What is it? Maybe it's an orphanage that you want to put together and create that as a vision of something that you want to do. Now, all these things, to include an orphanage, requires money,
100%,
money and effort. And if you see money as a tool to get to what you want to do and accomplish on your vision board, the purpose is for you to see it, envision it, and that way you can act upon it. Do the things that you need to do to accomplish the task. One of which, you see a house up there, property. We're real estate agents, and I try to encourage my clients, envision yourself in a house.
Yes. And one of the things that I want you guys to understand, and again, a lot of people see money as evil. Well, in reality, and this is proven, money will magnify who you really are. So if you are a very nice person, very generous, with that money, you're going to be super generous. If you are an a-hole, then you're going to be that kind of person. So whatever you are, it's just going to magnify who you are. So money is not evil. Some people do evil things with money, right? And we grew up that way. I mean, I was raised thinking that, you cannot, people that have money are bad people. They're also taking advantage of others. And what I've uncovered is I have a lot of friends that are very wealthy. They're super generous, Angel. They're super great people, and they're willing to share what they did to become successful. with anybody that asks them. Like people think that these people are unreachable. They're not. Most people that are wealthy, they're super generous with their time and their resources.
Well, I think true successful people are humble deep down inside,
Definitely.
and they like helping other people. Now, of course, with that comes a responsibility from the person that they're trying to help.
Yep.
If they, in my experience, if I see someone that is receiving the assistance and the advice and embracing it, then I'm going to be encouraged to do more for that person. Okay.
Yep.
But if I see that the individual is doing absolutely the bare minimum, okay, to excel in life, then I need to evaluate and move on. Okay.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean that I'm belittling the individual, the person, but unfortunately they have to help themselves first.
Yep.
Okay.
And you, just because you admire someone doesn't mean you admire everything they do, right? For example, Elon Musk, the guy's a genius, right? I admire the guy. Do I admire 100% of what he does? Do I approve 100%? Of course not, right? It's just like me and you, like we have our flaws. We're human, right? So anyways, I'm going to go back to the vision board, guys. If you ever created one, I don't have it finished like I mentioned to you guys before, but you want to cover all angles of your life because prosperity, wealth, and true abundance is not just having money, right? You want to have, for me, my family is my why and my motor, right? That's what keeps me going. So you want to have family relationships. You want to have great spousal relationships if you have a husband or wife. Health is important because if you just imagine being rich, Angel, and not being able to walk.
Very sad.
Right? Or imagine not being able to walk and being poor on top of that.
Correct.
So you want to work on every single aspect of your life. And that's what we have here. We have our health, relationships, also spiritual life is very important to us. So all these things that we want to achieve, they're uber important. And Angel, you mentioned it earlier about it's not all about the money and having just material stuff, right?
No.
However, you need a home to live in, right?
Oh, big time.
Definitely. So a lot of people wait until they're, get close to retirement and they start trying to buy in a home. And at that point, it's a little too late. And what's going to happen is they're going to have to work the rest of their life because they rented their whole life. Now they can't catch up. So for all of those young people out there, start with your vision board, start thinking about what you want in life. Yep. And if it goes through your mind, it goes through your life. So be careful what you focus on. And if you want to get good results, align with great people. Like Angel was saying, if you see someone that you're hanging out with that has negative thoughts or actions all the time, then you really don't want to be around that person. You are the 5 people you hang out with. So keep that in mind.
Well, and then I've never seen anyone place on a vision board that they've created government assistance, where 100%. The government is always rendering assistance. And that's a good indicator that that individual, that person is creating a vision board where it's moving in the right direction. We should not learn and have the mindset that the government is our primary assistance.
Yep.
That's not the way to do things. If you look at the people that think like that, their life is, for the most part, stagnant.
Yep.
And you need to have a mindset shift, if you will, and begin to not rely on the government for anything, okay? And move in a direction where you can gain independence, financial independence, and be successful in many other areas, not just money. But again, money is a tool that opens the doors to create the life that you would that you actually dream about. So take that into account. The government is only there to serve a purpose of administrating, but not to be rendering assistance left and right. And I think that's something that unfortunately we see prevalent in society today.
Yeah.
And we pass it on to our generations, and then we have to break the cycle.
Yep.
Okay. And we have to be self-sufficient, and we can help each other, because we just said, I know some very well-off individuals that started with nothing.
Yep.
The majority of the millionaires in this country are self-made millionaires. And of those self-made millionaires, the majority of those are immigrants.
Yep.
People that came here from another country and saw the great opportunities that we have here. And rather than complaining, while many others born and raised here, unfortunately, have continued to complain on a daily basis, you have individuals that come here and see a grant. Wow, this is a great opportunity.
Yep, and let me get. And sorry for interrupting you, but there's one thing that I mentioned when people that come from other countries see the opportunity to create wealth in this beautiful country. Is like I feel, and I compare it to being a fish in the water. The fish doesn't realize that he's living in the water.
Yeah,
right. So these people come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at all this abundant water here, right? All these resources that we have that we can make a ton of money from, or a business, or a better lifestyle than like where I come from." And you were mentioning, because we were talking about this particular business, and I met this client of mine and we became friends. He's from Romania. He came here and within 5 years, he owned a very successful business. He was making, this was back in 2014, and he was making about $20,000 a month.
Not bad.
And he's like, "Juan, I'm living the American dream." And he says, "All I did is I worked in construction when I got here." He was an attorney where he came from. And he started looking at what other businesses, what other opportunities are, instead of just being a laborer, right? Which I was brought up to this country. My father was a farmer. He picked strawberries. He picked everything that he could, like cotton, dates. So that's all I knew, right? However, as I grew, I started seeing other things. I'm like, well, you don't have to work, in this industry or in this particular industry. You can be an entrepreneur. And he kind of opened my eyes to it. And what we do is basically an entrepreneurship, but it goes to show you that if you have the willingness, if you are willing to invest in learning, because that's what he did.
Yep.
He started researching, okay, how do I open one of these businesses? Like you.
You have to stay hungry.
Yep.
Okay. Have a
Curious.
beginner's mindset and stay curious. Okay. If you're hungry and you have a beginner's mindset, meaning, okay, I've already accomplished this task, I've done this, but I still know there's more.
Yep.
Okay. And then that's where some folks may come and say, why are you satisfied with what you have? Well, I am, and I'm grateful, but I know that there is more. Okay.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. And by the same token, okay, there may be individuals that envision themselves as W-2 employees. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I had a loved one very close to me that worked at a factory. Okay. He knew when he was going to go to work. Okay. What time. And he knew when his break was going to be, his lunch time. And he was assembling, appliances. And he enjoyed it.
Yep.
And I never heard this individual complain about the money and so on. He lived within his means. That was great. The problem is that I know many individuals that do work W-2 jobs, such as the one that I described, but they are constantly complaining. And when they see someone driving a nice car, living in a nice house, oh, that individual's so stuck up, and that individual should give more. They should take more taxes from that individual, blah, 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 blah. So the energy is being consumed to complain. And instead of doing that, they should be creating a better life for themselves by self-development. Don't rely on the government. Self-development is important. You study, you research, like this gentleman, the story that you just mentioned. And I don't stop. I don't want to stop until death do us part is how I see it. You should continue to increase the
level of knowledge,
and until the day that God takes you from this earth.
And curiosity is huge, because the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know, and it's so powerful. And going back to the W-2 employees and people that work as a W-2 worker, I have another friend. We met with him about a week and a half ago. He invited us to his home, and we had breakfast with them. Beautiful couple. I've known him for many years. His daughter used to play soccer with my daughter Paulina, and he's a W-2 worker, and he owns many homes, and he is now financing those properties to clients. And what amazed me about this guy is he came here illegally. He was here for a long time working. He got his documents, and before he got his documents, he was already a business owner, making up, like a normal salary, nothing crazy. But he showed that extra work effort, right? Yeah. He didn't just, he wasn't complacent with just working the 9-to-5 job. He worked overtime. And then on top of that, okay, how can I invest? Where can I go? And he met this gentleman that, like we were talking about, that is well off, and says, how do you do it? So he started sharing with them, you know what, this is how I do it. I buy a property, I hold it, I rent it, my tenants pay my mortgages. And then after a while, I started saying, you know what, these people have already paid my mortgages so far down that I can now finance these properties. I don't have to worry about repairing anything. And again, it's a deeper conversation than that. But my point is, anybody can do it. Anybody can be successful. It doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you invest in yourself to learn, which is going to help you go to the next level. Because most people want to, let's say, for example, these people that won the lottery, it's pretty cool, right? They won a bunch of millions of dollars.
Mm.
Most people that win the lottery end up broke again.
And you know why is that?
Yeah, their thermometer, right?
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, if with, say, for example, you earn $100 a week, I'm just throwing out a number, and with the $100 that you earn, you don't save $1 a week. Okay, it's the principle about saving and administrating. If you're not a good steward with the $100, who says that with 100 million you're going to be a good steward? And that's why folks that win the lottery, statistically speaking, the majority end up broke and worse than they were before.
Exactly. End up divorced and jail. And I watched actually a few stories not too long ago, and there was a documentary about people that win the lottery. And that was the case. And wealthy, being wealthy or being rich, it's a mindset.
Correct.
Right. And I'm going to use a bad example because a lot of people don't like Trump. But for example, Donald Trump was a billionaire. He filed for bankruptcy. He went back to being a millionaire. But he's already got a mindset of a billionaire. So he's not comfortable being a millionaire. So he went back to being a billionaire. And that's the case with all these other ultra successful people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Their mindset is that of that person. So what Angel mentions is like what you learn is going to help you get to that other level where you think of yourself as that successful person. And it's not that you are better. It's just that you've developed yourself to be a better person, right?
Well, look at Steve Jobs. I mean, did he not have failure? He ran into hiccups and stuff, and he came right back at it. And that's the difference. Just because you failed once, twice, 3, 10 times, heck, more, doesn't mean you should stop. Let's talk about Colonel Sanders, the infamous Colonel Sanders. He's no longer around, but he left a legacy, and he continued to go at it and go at it until he became very successful. We can create a positive impact. Definitely. We must not give up. We must envision ourselves as doing great things. And that's why this exercise about having a vision board came about. And this has been around. This is nothing new.
No,
okay?
Not at all.
So again, if it's an orphanage that you want, if that's what you envision yourself doing, put it on the vision board. This is a great exercise for you to put together. Some people may look at it and that's so childish. That's ridiculous. Dumb. Well, I mean, I respect your opinion. I'm just saying that for those that are interested in expanding their life, this is a good way about doing it because it starts helping you focus and create plans. You see the vision board. Oh, that's right. I want to have that orphanage. I want to do that. I want to buy that car. I want that house.
Definitely.
Because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? I mean, some people just wake up and their mind is kind of like idle and they're just operating. The only time that it gets turned on is when they want to complain because the neighbor has a nicer car. Mm-hmm. I would say, let's turn that mind on to create greater things within us.
Yep.
So we can now create a positive impact for others.
You have the same capacity.
Correct. 24 hours. Everyone has 24 hours, right? 365 days of them a year. What you do with the 24 hours that God gives all of us makes the difference. Again, if you want to be a W-2, I respect that. We need W-2 employees, just like we need tenants, right? But if you decide to go W-2 and get home from work, it's like the mindset is Saturday and Sunday, I'm not working. That's not in my job description. When you're a business owner and entrepreneur, you don't care. Saturday, Sunday, I got to do this. I got to do that. I love doing what I do, okay? There are times that I'm 7 days a week doing what I do. I love real estate. I'm passionate about it, if you haven't noticed. And I hope and pray to God that I can continue to create positive impact in many families and investors as well. So think about creating your vision board, have it somewhere where maybe not just you, but you and your family can discuss
Yep.
about it. It makes a great conversation piece for the children.
Definitely.
You have kids that you're raising, and then they start talking about it. Then they start thinking about their future. I used to tell my kids, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I remember them, I think they were probably 11, 12. They look at me like I'm crazy. What do you mean? I don't even know where I'm going to be tomorrow. I says, well, I'm just challenging yourself. You're a young person that's soon to be a young adult. It's time for you to start thinking, where is it that you're going to be in 5 years? And have that goal. And then there are other things that you can say, where do I see myself in a year? Okay. Soon to be in high school. Well, how am I going to be in high school? And I challenged them and I would redo it. And that way they start creating this vision. Where is it that I'm going to be? You have to have a plan of action, not just a plan.
Right. And one of the things that it's actually psychological too. There's a section in your brain that's called the RAS, the reticular activator system. And what it does is, if, like, for example, if when you purchase a car, when you purchase your Arteon, right, when you bought that car, did you start seeing it everywhere?
I did.
Right. And before that, it wasn't really, in front of you, right? You're like, probably they don't even exist now. Once you have awareness of what you're looking for or what you want, your mind will scan for it. God made us so amazing, right? So whatever, and it's even biblical too, have faith, things will happen. So if you focus on it, if you have your plans, just set it there. And I'm going to just attest to this, guys. The life we're living right now, I dreamt about it. I'm living the life of my dreams. And again, is it going to change? Is it going to be challenges? There's challenge all the time. However, we're in a place where I dreamt about it at one point, right? So it's doable, it's possible. And that's why I continuously do this, because I want to have something to live for. And like Angel said, some people wake up idle and they don't have any dreams. They don't have any goals. How sad is that? I mean, how sad is to live a life without any dreams? My father used to say, you know what, tienes que tener sueños. You have to have dreams.
Yep.
Otherwise, why do you live for? ¿Para qué vives? And he would constantly repeat that, and it's stuck in my brain. I'm like, you know what? I get up at 4 or 5 in the morning every day because I want to live. I don't want to be sleeping unconscious, waiting for the days to go by. I want to enjoy every single day that God puts me on this earth, and I want to live with a purpose, and I want to make changes in people's lives, and I want to live a life by design. This is Keller Williams' motto, and I enjoy that, and I love that, because I want to be able to be the architect of my life with God's help and blessing, to do the things that are going to get us to where we want to be. Obviously, always making sure that it's something that is in alignment with good.
I mean, you mentioned the car Arteon. I actually envision having the Arteon. The vehicles that I have, the house that I live in, and it doesn't come from one day to another. I just wake up. No, you think about it, you see it on the vision board, but you're developing yourself in that direction. Definitely. You're taking action. It's just a constant reminder. Okay. I mean, 97% of those who quit, 3%, they are employed by 3% that never gave up.
Yep.
So do you want to be from the quitting side, statistically speaking, or do you want to be by the 3% that never gave up?
Yep.
I'd rather be part of the 3%. I mean, life is a battlefield. Mm-hmm. If you see it that way, you're going to be preparing yourself to go to battle on a daily basis.
Always.
And see it as a good thing. I mean, I don't know. That's just the way I see it. There's going to be challenges. How can I do what I have to do to adapt and overcome and get over the hill and get to the other side?
Just imagine everything being so easy, right?
It can be boring.
That would be super boring. And I think that's how we live our life. We deal with our job, in reality, is to fix problems.
Well, for those that believe in God, I certainly do. We were created in God's image. God was creator, producer. Mm-hmm. So if we were creating God's image, we should be wanting to create, to have an imagination, to have curiosity, to build things, to produce. I'm not much of a builder per se with regard to mechanically speaking. Okay. But you can build in so many other areas. You can build people up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Rather than destroying them, let's build people up. Our youth. I love speaking to youth because they're the generation that is coming up.
Yep.
Okay. And if you focus on the youth, you hope and pray to God to have a better society down the road.
And you do make an impact. I mean, those generations that are coming, I take that in back home where I grew up. And unfortunately, the neighborhood that I grew up went the other direction, and most of our friends are dead, right? And I bring that up quite often because it kind of hurts me, right? But it was what kind of influence were we next to, and how did that affect generations? And then there's generations to come. You know, you have little kids at 12 years, 13 years of age being sicarios, you know, killing people, which it breaks my heart. These kids with so much talent, they're super smart. My town where I grew up, it's a business little town where people are entrepreneur, they work super hard, but the circumstances and the environment changes you. So how can we be that? And that's why we do these things. Like, for example, the vision board that we're talking about. How can you change your life in a positive way to change not only your life, but other people that are around you? Because I have people that ask us, you know, how did you get out of it? How did you come here? Well, I didn't follow the crowd. You know what's good and bad, right? It depends on what kind of way you go. And we decided to live in a suburb of Phoenix where I could raise my family. I was away from a lot of friends, and I still love them. But you know what? They were bad influences that I don't want to be around.
You decided there was a decision to be made.
100%.
So you mentioned entrepreneurship a few times, okay? An entrepreneur, okay, is a person who's up late working 100 hours for themselves to avoid working 40 hours for someone else is what an entrepreneur is. It's just an example, okay? So the decision is there. I would suggest, I would actually encourage for all of you to consider doing a vision board, and those that really want to be an entrepreneur. Real estate is not a bad thing.
Definitely. It's a
Give
great
us a
career.
call. Maybe you're interested in becoming a realtor.
Yeah.
There's other means. There's financial services, which is life insurance, annuities. There's all kinds of stuff that you can develop yourself in and create a better lifestyle for you and your family.
And freedom. And one of the things that you can not buy as an entrepreneur, but be able to enjoy is the freedom to work and on your own terms. You guys see that we vacation quite often. That I don't have to ask anybody for permission if I can go on a vacation, if I can take off this weekend or for a whole week. So there is value and freedom. And for me, that's what basically sold me on taking a risk and saying, you know what, I'm going to go and do this crazy thing of depending on myself. And it's been a journey since 2011, and I wouldn't go back. I mean, I love it.
But we have to take into account that what he's mentioning requires discipline and commitment. There's going to be times where you wake up and you say, hard. I don't want to do this anymore, because maybe at that moment in time, there is a transaction that's overwhelming you. Okay. Sometimes that does happen.
There was times that I wanted to quit. Many times I'm like, why am I doing this? I should go back to just get a job and not worry about it.
So it's like you're running, right? And you're huffing and puffing and you think, I'm going to give up.
Yep.
Just set your sight. That's at least how I see it. Set 100%. Your sight. If I'm running through the forest or wherever I'm running, I pick something at a distance. If I can just make it there, it helps me overcome that moment of frustration where I'm huffing and puffing. And then I gather my thoughts again and put my eyes on that I'm looking at way ahead. And you're gonna get there. Yep. You're gonna have a breakthrough, and you're gonna overcome that frustration. And then you're going to look back and you said, that was a great learning experience for me.
Look at what I'm capable of. Because one of the things that we can lie to ourselves, reading a book called The Rise of Superman. And the reason I recommended this book to the team is because we do so little because we think of ourselves so little.
Affirmative.
But God didn't create someone mediocre. He created a masterpiece. And you are God's masterpiece. And you're able to get as far as you want if you believe in yourself and you push yourself just an extra step, like Angel says. Put another marker. Okay, you know what? I was able to achieve this. It was uncomfortable. You know what? Let me see how far I can go. And that's basically what I do with my business. Like, what else can we do to improve our services? How can we treat people better? How can we provide this experience in which not only we're just helping people get into a home, but now invest in real estate, create wealth. Like it just expands to a different level. And now you're really changing lives, Angel.
Correct. And let's talk about marathon runner. I'm not a marathon runner, obviously. But let's talk about marathon runner.
Let me put it on your vision board.
Yeah, I should, right? Marathon runner, and I have friends that run marathons. They don't wait for the day of the marathon. to get
prepare.
ready. Okay. There's a planning stage. But by the same token, if they just plan and talk about it, oh, I got to train because I'm going to be participating in a marathon, and just talk about planning, then it's not going to get
Plan
too
to
far.
plan.
And then, yeah. And then if in fact they do plan and they do certain preparations, but the day of the marathon, they just show up with nice looking shoes and whatever.
Got
And
all the
then,
gear.
then they don't act upon what it is that they plan for. They're not going to get far either. They're not going to
Yes.
win, right?
Yep.
So you got to plan. You got to have a vision. Envision yourself. Where is it that you want to be? And then make the necessary preparations to fulfill. And within that preparation, you have to be willing and able to make the necessary adjustments. But the point is, you actually put yourself in motion.
Yes.
If you put yourself in motion, because I had another conversation with someone close to me that said, no, I need to be 100% ready before I act. Well, you're never going to be 100% ready.
Perfectionism is not a great thing, guys. Many people think it is because you start planning to plan, and you never get anything done. Just go do it. Just go for it. And I've been trying to do this for a long time. Now I'm gonna make that guy say, you know what? When I'm offered a donut, Angels, don't offer me any more donuts.
Me?
And because I love sweets. But anyways, if I would this guy eat that, you know?
Well, then in your vision board, once you put sugar as an enemy, maybe that keeps you from getting, because now that we're talking about sugar, when I did keto in 2019, believe it or not, I really got into the keto thing, and I started dropping weight like crazy. Because when I started reading about the effects of sugar and what it does to the body, it's poison.
Yeah.
So
and it's a drug too.
It is
very
a drug.
addictive.
So carbs are not good for you. And I know someone say this guy's already starting to talk different. I'm just saying, I experienced when I reduced carbs to the bare minimum. Okay, I began to feel better. I began in intermittent fasting. So these are the things that you can put if it's a health related matter. Put it on the vision board.
Yep.
Let's talk about it, see it. And somebody's going to come in. There you go again. Yes, that's something that's important to me. If you have friends and family that are starting to belittle you because of what it is that you envision yourself to do,
Get new friends. It's okay.
you may want to question that.
Yeah. And again, that's one thing that I've been very good about. I'm very outspoken. I sometimes shouldn't say things that I do, but I do not tolerate people that are going to tell me how to do my or how to live my life if I know that there's a better way, right? If you start following the crowd, Angel was mentioning the 3%. There's actually 5% of the people. If you follow 100 people throughout their whole life, and this is actually scientifically proven, you follow them from the Social Security since they're born, 100 people, about 4% will be very well off. They're going to do fine. 1% is going to be the top 1% that everybody talks about and doesn't like. And then the rest of the people, about 39% are going to die. And the rest of the people are going to depend on family members to take care of them.
Yep.
Right. And why is that? We groupthink, right? We want to do what everybody else does. And if you don't, we're afraid of being outcasted, and it's uncomfortable. Right. So don't be afraid. Find those crazy ones. Right. I mean, I've been called crazy many times, and that's okay. I am enjoying my crazy life.
I love it.
And I hang out with crazy people like Angel that has the same mentality as I do, and other friends that we hang out with that have the same mentality. And it's really refreshing, right? And we see our lifestyle and we see what we enjoy. And then we have those people that complain or they say things that, oh, these guys are this, these guys are that. Well, we're like everybody else, except we take different decisions and take different choices, which get us to where we want to be at. And we enjoy it.
Well, I mean, I've had people approach me and says, when I grow up, I want to be like you, Angel. Well, you are grown up. You can be.
100%.
You can do better. That's what I say. That's my response.
Yes.
I mean, life insurance is something that we didn't mention. So we talk about real estate. That's important. Everyone should think about owning their property, their house.
Yes.
For today, for today's needs. Today's a rainy day. You don't want to be left outside in the rain. Okay. And then, as much as I love tenants, and I've said that multiple times, I think that tenants should not live paying rent forever.
Yes.
Because in essence, you're paying someone else's mortgage. So put a house as you owning it. And then as a complement to that, in your portfolio or vision board, life insurance.
Yep.
The younger you are, the better you should rate you're going to get. Trust me, call me, because I'm a life insurance broker as well. That's a different subject. But
No, yeah, but and it's important too, and that's one thing that is dear to my heart, because how many people have you guys seen that are out there doing a car wash to bury their loved ones, right? You don't want to be in that
or
situation.
GoFundMe. That's the new fad. I had an individual tell me, Angel, my family is going to be good because I have extended family that loves my kids and my wife. So if I die, they're not going to be left out to dry. Well, you have a business, you have a mortgage, you have car payments, and you have young children that still depend on you. And if your spouse, you guys have made the decision not to have her or him work because they're the caretaker, all right, of the family and the children and so on, that's great. But if the main breadwinner disappears, or maybe is in a situation in bed with a coma for 12 months,
Right.
can't work, what happens then? A life insurance policy with living benefits, it's a great way to have that complement to the beautiful house that you have and the business. I would encourage you to put a good life insurance policy with living benefits on your vision board as well.
Definitely.
So the car, everyone talks about cars. That's kind of like up on the priority list. Let's talk about a home, which is a great investment. And let's talk about protecting your assets, which life insurance will provide that to you.
Yep.
Does it mean that by talking about life insurance, that means that, oh, you're talking about that I'm going to die?
No.
What if you don't die? Again, I use that example. Someone can suffer a severe accident and putting them in a coma for 12 months. Who's going to pay? If that person can't work,
Yep.
that person can't cover the expenses, your family can be left out to dry. Now you don't have the means to take care of yourself and your family. So anyways,
But risking
again,
it all. Yeah.
do your vision board. We highly encourage you to do so, and put on there what you think is best for your future, but have something. Yeah. If you're sitting there and saying, I don't have anything to think about, then let's talk offline and we can help you begin to move in the right direction.
Definitely. Awesome, Angel. Well, I think that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Angel, thanks.
Hey, thank you. And hope that it's going to be a holiday weekend. It's Veterans Day, isn't it? This is that
Friday, I believe, no?
So have a great weekend. It's coming up. I know today's Wednesday, but and those of you that work, welcome to the club. I'm working this weekend as well.
We do too. Thank you, guys. Take care.